stuff.
Science.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming on this horrible day. We really appreciate it. But I'm going to talk about natural lifemanship and the brain part of it, the science behind it. So natural lifemanship is based on attachment theory, which isn't really a theory anymore. It has been scientifically proven through like brain scans and all that fancy pointy-headed stuff. So attachment theory has to do with relationships. And really, if you think about it, you're only as happy as your worst relationship. If you don't have good relationships, you're just not going to be a happy person. So within the attachment theory, you form a secure attachment pre-verbally. So it even starts in utero when you're in the mother's womb. So if you have a pregnant woman and she's going through a lot of stress, like financial troubles, abuse, she's in a war zone, anything like that, and her nervous system frequently gets dysregulated, that impacts that growing baby and the way its brain forms. So there's more data and science coming out that a lot of these mental health issues and conditions really start in the womb with trauma that the mother experiences. So the baby is born, it's a newborn, still pre-verbal until it gets to be about a toddler, right? So all during that pre-verbal time of a child's life, its attachment is forming. And it forms a secure attachment through its caregiver and by getting consistent care through the caregiver. Caregiver doesn't always have to be mom. Could be dad, could be grandparent, daycare worker. It's not about who's delivering the care and the emotional regulation. It's that it happens consistently for that child. So a child who gets consistent emotional regulation, what I mean by that is, okay, you have a newborn baby, baby's hungry, baby needs a diaper change, baby's tired, teething, whatever, it's crying. Someone comes to comfort that child and has a calm nervous system. The child picks up on that and it forms. It learns to regulate itself. You don't come out of your mother knowing how to emotionally regulate yourself. You have to learn that. And it's all pre-verbal. Now, throughout the developing brain, there's three main parts to the human brain. You got your lower brain, you got your midbrain, you got your upper brain. That's that neocortex, prefrontal cortex. I'm not a neuroscientist, by the way. I just pretend to be one on TV. But okay, so while that baby's developing, neurons are forming and they're firing and they're getting pruned and they're connecting and they're forming through all three of those parts. Now that lower part of the brain, okay, so if you imagine your brain's like a fist, okay, so that lower part's down like the wrist here, that is like the amygdala and the brainstem. That's the part of your brain that controls proprioception, so where your body is in space, your balance, central nervous, like breathing, digestion, stuff you don't think about. But more importantly, in the form of attachment and emotions and relationships, that's also where we get fight, flight, freeze, fawn responses. It's all down in here. You can't really control it, okay? It just kind of happens. So then that middle part of the brain up in here is where we form emotions and also where we form our relationships as well. A lot of times, you know, you have emotions, you have a relationship with someone, you can't really explain why you like that person, you feel it, okay? That's because it's happening down in there, all right? It's not the upper part of the brain, which is our decision-making part. That's the planning part, that's the conscious part. So while a child's developing, all of those neurons that connect those three parts of the brain are forming. If that gets interrupted through abuse, neglect, some kind of trauma, and it happens through a relationship with the caregiver, like the caregiver wasn't consistent for the child or the caregiver was the one who caused the child pain and trauma, those neurons don't connect properly, or they go in weird places, or they get completely shut off and pruned, okay? Gonzo bye. That's how you end up with children who have attachment problems. They're like super anxious in relationships, or they're avoidant in a relationship. They have problems with authority, things like the trust issues, okay? So then where does the horse come into all of this? All right. So horses are an interesting animal because they also form attachment in a similar way to humans, and they also regulate each other and themselves as well. So, for example, if you have a child who has attachment problems, is dysregulated, okay, and Miss Laura is there helping this kid, and she brings out Mr. Lucky, who is a very good therapy horse and is very emotionally calm and regulated. And she puts that child up on Lucky, and she just leads them around. Lucky's walking, the kid's riding at a walk, and she's working through this stuff with this child, having the kid think about things, doing exercises with that kid. And the child is moving in that rhythmic motion of the horse. That lights up that lower part of the brain. And as the child is forming an emotion, depending on what kind of exercise Laura's doing with them, and also thinking, okay, it opens up these pathways. It gets the brain forming these new connections. And horses are one of the only animals you can really do this with because we can ride them, okay? And horses also, like I said before, they regulate each other and themselves. So I don't know if you've ever had a bad day, right? And you've got like your favorite horse around, and that horse is a rock star, and that horse just calms you just being around that horse or even riding that horse. It's the same principle. This is happening with the horse. It's helping you regulate. Same thing when you are working with a horse that is not regulated. It's having some issues, right? It's scared of the plastic bag on the ground. That horse needs to borrow your ability to emotionally regulate. And that's also how you calm them down as well. Laura, have I missed anything? You want me to add anything there?
That was excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
Any questions from the gallery? Anything? No?
That's cool. Makes all sorts of sense.
Okay. Great.
Very good.
Thank you.
Good horse. All right. So hopefully I won't have to read my minutes now. Yes. I do want to add though,
Yes.
if you don't mind, an adult can also have the
Yeah.
pathways dysregulated, and fortunately the brain has neuroplasticity. So that's the whole point of what we're trying to do is redirect those neural pathways through the attachment between us, the horse, and the participant. So now eventually we're getting to the point where we're talking about how our pony club but better camps operate. So we have the natural lifemanship background, and then we're adding equine learning and equine coaching. So I have a certification in that as well. And then the curriculum is designed to do all the things that she was talking about and what I'm about to talk about. So we can also set up experiences with the horse. Actually, Lisa, you probably do it all the time, and so do you, where the participant is learning to calm their nervous system with the horse. So they're being present when they're brushing. They're learning to be mindful. They're learning empathy. All of these things also help calm the nervous system. And horses also have what they call coherent heart. And we all know from riding, the horse can spook, boom, and then they're back to normal. But people, on the other hand, we carry that a long time, and you really have to get rid of that when you're around your horse so that you're kind of co-regulating with each other. But when you're just near that horse and their heart's coherent, there's a 10-foot radius of the heart, the horse's heart, reaching the electrical current or energy to the human's heart, calming their nervous system, lowering their blood pressure, and all of that. So when we do the coaching part, then what I'm doing is I'm setting up purposeful activities based on their goals. And with the kids camp, we're basing it on helping kids learn emotional resilience. I'm going to read the definition. I try to memorize it, but emotional resilience is the ability to adapt to life's challenges, understand, express, and manage emotions, cope with stress, and maintain a positive outlook. That's the end game of everything we are doing, because at the end of the day, we all need emotional resilience because life isn't perfect. And as Antoinette said, could be from the womb, it could be after. Even the best parents make mistakes, and then in life things happen. So the main communication that we use in coaching and in our camps is body language. We're observing the body language of the horse and the participant. And in observing those, we're learning, and we can help the client process what's going on, because often it's subconscious. So the horse is picking up things and the person is exhibiting things, and we can just bring it to awareness. And that's what we do. We just ask questions, which we're going to do live with you guys in the arena. We set up an activity that's going to be fun. But all of everything we do is based on trust and connection. So the whole reason what Antoinette talked about is to get the nervous system regulated and use the horse and us and each other for co-regulation. And I think that's it. Does that cover everything?
I think so.
Okay.